Marissa Wiesner.
Hi, my name is Marissa Wiesner. I'm going to be talking to you about the 2 seasons that I worked at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Both seasons I worked as the Loch Ness Monster, so I kind of know the ins and outs of that roller coaster as well as the other ones around Busch Gardens. So I started working at Loch Ness, I guess, the end of my senior year of high school. So we have a lot of tests that we have to take for like safety and actually knowing how to operate the rides. We have just our regular ride operator test. We have a test for a ride attendant, which is working the platforms, checking harnesses. We have a controls test, which is actually working the controls, knowing when to send the train, how to lock the harnesses, stuff like that. And then also, when you work at Loch Ness, you also work at Little Clyde's, which is kind of like a mini carousel for kids, so we have that test. So in total, we have 4 tests ranging about 300 to 400 questions total. And you have to pass with an 80% or higher on each individual test. So for controls, you have to know all the buttons, all the dials, and you can dispatch the train, lock the harnesses, unlock the harnesses, open and close the gates. Also, while you're doing all this, you also have to spiel to the guests. We have multiple different spiels. We have like boarding guests, please sit quickly and carefully, the seats directly in front of you. Pull your safety harness down over your head and shoulders. During your ride, please remain seated to keep all hands and arms inside the train with your head back against the headrest, securing all loose articles or you will lose them. That's just one of them. So you're doing this as well as operating your controls. Now, for ride attendants, checking harnesses, you actually have to push down and then pull up on every single harness. And then once you do that, you have your foot pedal that you push, and then you depress a button on one side, and the other side actually has to hold down the dispatch button. And you always give a thumbs up to let the control person know that everybody's checked, everything's good to go, and then we can dispatch the train. Actually, we also have an entrance person, which checks heights. Busch Gardens, we now no longer allow bags to be left on the platform. So we just have to make sure that all bags are left in the locker unless it's for a medical reason. And then Little Clyde's is pretty much the same thing like as controls, except it's a lot simpler. You only have one button to press. You just have to make sure everybody's seatbelt is on. So you have to tug on that. And the good thing about Little Clyde's is the kids can't get out until I release them I have a special key, so I have to go through and check everybody's harnesses. So I've done that for about 2 seasons now. I'm actually going back this season to try to become like a manager of that particular ride and like do scheduling and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. You create a family when you're there, and so it's a lot of fun. So that's my experience with working at Busch Gardens. Any questions? Yeah.
I have one question. Just curious, how did they do they give you a fair amount of hours? Like, do they work you pretty hard? I only asked because I had a buddy who worked at like food storage, and they kind of worked him like a dog.
Yeah, pretty much every week I had 50 to 60 hours. One week I went over 60, which you're not really supposed to do, but that was because I picked up a bunch of double shifts because people wouldn't show up, so I was like, I'll stay. But yeah, you get good hours. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.